Gray Zone Warfare has some of the best tactical gunplay out there, but it's missing some of the most legendary assault rifles. Today we're going to be breaking down the top 10 assault rifles that need to be in the game. And make sure to stick around because I've got a couple bonus picks at the end you're not going to want to miss. Assault rifles are the backbone of modern combat, and in a game like Gray Zone Warfare, having the right weapon can make all the difference. Whether it's a high caliber battle rifle or a fast-firing carbine, these guns would bring variety, realism, and balance to the game's weapon pool. Starting off, I have to go with the Rhodesian classic, the FAL. Technically a battle rifle, but an iconic piece for a type of jungle warfare setting we're seeing here in Gray Zone Warfare. Shooting the 7.62x51, it offers an accurate semi-auto option for those lone wolf stalker players, having a lot of potential for upgrades, or if you're just a purist, just running it as a stock weapon. AI in places like Midnight Sapphire or Tiger Bay should be rocking these bad boys, and the vendors like Artisan or Turncoat should be peddling this product. I see the FAL as kind of a tier 2 weapon. I would probably have it unlocked at level 2 for Artisan or maybe level 1 for Turncoat. Wherever it falls, it just needs to be unlocked early enough that if you're adventurous enough, you can go into those higher tier areas and actually have some stopping power. Probably one of the least represented firearms in gaming, the Galil is one of those guns that just looks cool. Plus, it has two versions, both of which I would love to see in game, a 5.56 and a 7.62 variant. To me, the Galil should be one of those rare weapons only spawning in firearm crates, making it effectively a show-off piece. I mean, they're modular, but they also have just that really cool look to them. While pretty much just a better M4, the HK416 is a no-brainer to be added. Most of the modifications are already in-game, and its ability to be modded into any role and its relationship to special forces communities around the world makes it just a solid pick. Having it in-game will really get you into that operator mindset. This is a high-tier item in my opinion, something that the player base should be wanting to grind towards. For that reason, I'm going to limit it to Gunny 3 and Banshee level 2. You could even have some like AI bosses in Fort Nerif or Midnight Sapphire have access to this weapon, making it, possible to get it, but difficult to achieve. If Lemang is a fictional island somewhere in Southeast Asia, then it was probably at some point under British control or at least influence. For that reason, I'm putting in the SA-80. It's the first bullpup on this list, and it's not going to be the last. An obvious choice for players who are struggling in those tight corners, but also want something that can still stretch its legs. Will it get used as much as an M4? Probably not. But having it unlocked at Gunny level 1 would add a little bit of flavor to the early game. Similar to the FAL, the G3 is technically a battle rifle, but absolutely has its place here in Gray Zone Warfare. Its large frame would make it pretty much unsuitable for any place that's close-quartered like YBL, but it makes up for it with sheer accuracy and stopping power. Again, shooting that 7.62 NATO cartridge, most players are going to be using this rifle as more of a DMR, which if you want to see my sniper suggestions for this game, be sure to subscribe. It's free and it really helps me out a lot. The G3 would be one of those eye catchers again, but it's in line with the style of weapons that like Banshee already sells. By the end of this video, Banshee is pretty much going to be an HK dealership. While not a super popular weapon platform, and represented in only a few games, the Keltec RFB is a little guy that packs a massive punch. Another 7.62 NATO slinger, but this time in a bullpup design. The Keltec takes FAL mags, making the developer's job a lot easier, and giving us a pretty futuristic weapon platform for us to use. Using this in Midnight Sapphire would be ideal, able to take those tight corners into the main office, but also allowing us to reach out and touch somebody in the open areas of the golf course, trading recoil management for accuracy. Since this isn't a meta weapon, having it spawn in firearm crates and being sold by Turncoat level 2 would probably round out his offerings to the player base. Getting back into some mainstream firearms though, the Scar is one of the firearms that has made a name for itself in pretty much every FPS game known to man. 5.56 or 7.62, it's your choice. In a game whose motto is every move matters, the Scar offers the operator the best of all worlds. Cooler than your standard M4, it makes sense that PMCs would be using the Scar. I would make the Scar only available from the vendors. The Scar L would be perfect with dudes like Turncoat or Banshee, but the Scar H would be a Gunny level 3 unlock, giving you something to work towards, and, who doesn't want a Scar H? If Lemang wasn't colonized by the British, then it sure as shit was by the French. So with that said, we're going to represent our baguette-eating friends with the French FAMAS. I mean, who doesn't like role-playing as the French Foreign Legion? The addition would actually tie into the storyline that you get from a lot of operators saying that they came from Africa, a continent that the French have been conducting military operations in for over 100 years. Another bullpup design, but I think that they should actually add the unique firing mode abilities that the FAMAS has in real life: semi, full auto, or burst. Shooting the 5.56, it's a logical addition to the game. For some reason, I get turncoat vibes from this rifle, and since he doesn't have a lot to offer upon unlock, I guess I'm going to say level 1? Get it out there in the world, I guess. Our next weapon is one that I hold near and dear to my heart from my time in the United States Marine Corps, and that's the M27 IAR. Technically a squad automatic weapon, it's a bridge between the assault rifle and the LMGs of modern combat. There has been a real big push in the community for a belt fed like the 249 or the 240 Bravo to be added. Personally, I think such weapons would make a PvP nightmare. But what do you guys think? Should an LMG be added into the game? Let me know down in the comments below. Regardless of what side of the fence you land on, this seems to be a decent middle ground. 60 round mags, M4 properties makes the M27 a possible meta weapon. Because of this, I think it should be one of those higher tier unlocks. Gunny level 3 makes the most sense since he's kind of already the M4 guy, but Banshee level 2 would be late enough in the game as well. I know a lot of you guys have been watching and been like, FAL, G3, FAMAS, Enlighten is totally missing an iconic weapon. And no, my friend, I haven't forgot about the G36. Who can? It's just so dang cool. The G36 is one of those guns that gets tossed into a game and everyone forgets about it. But in Gray Zone Warfare, I think it could be a strong contender, having both long and short barrel options, allowing the player base to make a more exotic look, while looking badass at the same time. The G36 is one of those toss-up vendor unlocks. Banshee seems like the most logical choice, but I'm going to go with level 2 Turncoat. It adds a bit of flavor to his offerings and gives us a reason to even worry about him. Plus, it kind of ties in with the lore of his, vendor storyline. Well, there you have it, the top 10 assault rifles I would like to see added to Gray Zone Warfare. But before you go, I have 2 more rifles that I think should be added to the game, and can be added with a bit of a throwback nod. If you've ever been flying around in your little bird and been like, you know what would make this better? Some Fortunate Son by CCR. You aren't alone, and it's the reason why we're going to see some Vietnam classics making a splash into Gray Zone Warfare. The M16A1 and the M14. The M16A1 can be something that fills out the weapon types you see the average Lemang local carrying. Short mags and all, but the M14 opens up some possibilities to modification and making it into the M21. I mean, who does not want to do the PvP version of All Gillied Up from Call of Duty? In the 0.3 news release, Madfinger Games is going to be adding command outposts, which will allow us to have access to a secret vendor, and I think the M16A1 and the M14 would fit into that inventory perfectly. Alright scholars, that's all I have for you today. What did you think of my list? Did I miss something that you would like to see in game? If you're trying to figure out what is the best headset for you to use in game, then I suggest you check out my headset guide video. My name is Enlightened Enlisted, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.